Good evening. I'm going to call this meeting to order. We have a quorum. This meeting is being webcast live and recorded. The recording or webcast may capture images and sounds of those attending the meeting. I will now identify closed session topics, recommended expulsions, recommended suspended expulsions, recommended continued expulsions, public employee assignment, reassignment, appointment, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, complaints, conference with labor negotiator, conference with legal counsel, existing lit, conference with real property negotiators, anticipated lit. General public comment on any closed session item will be heard at this time pursuant board policy. The board may limit individual comments to no more than 3 minutes and individual topics to 20 minutes. It is recommended you begin your comments by stating your name. There is no public comment. We will now adjourn to closed session. Good evening. Welcome to our regular session. Introduction of the interpreter. Gus Mora will serve as Spanish interpreter for this meeting. Meeting attendees who would like to listen to the Spanish interpretation of the meeting, please pick up headphones from the table located in the back of this room. This announcement will now be shared in Spanish.
Gus Mora servirá como el intérprete del español para esta reunión. Invitamos a los asistentes de la reunión que deseen escuchar la interpretación en español el ir por audífonos a la mesa ubicada al fondo de esta sala de reuniones.
This meeting is being webcast live and recorded. The recording or webcast may capture images and sounds of those attending the meeting. Members of the public wanting to provide public comment on items listed on tonight's agenda, we recommend you fill out a public comment form, the green form, located on the table in the back of the room. Please hand the completed form to Delia Smart, board manager, before the item comes up on the agenda. She's in the back. We recommend you complete a separate form for each agenda item you'd like to comment on. Ms. Smart is sitting at the table in the back of the room. Members of the public providing public comment, please use the microphone on the stand located. There will be a microphone in the front of the room. Pledge of Allegiance now will be led by Board Member Joy Naylor. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to report action taken in closed session. In closed session, the board voted in a motion by Board Member Odo and a second by Villegas to anonymously approve the notice of intent to dismiss placement on immediate unpaid suspension pending the disciplinary proceedings and the statement of charges against a teacher. The board took the following action in closed session on a motion by Board Member K. Spears Soleno, second by Board Member Naylor. The board voted unanimously to approve the settlement agreement between the district and parties representing OAH case number 2023090263. 3.6, the revisions to enclosure items in the these are the revised items in item enclosures, numbers 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, 6.8, 6.9, 6.10, and 6.28. May I have a motion to adopt the board meeting agenda?
Second.
On a motion by Board Member Naylor, second by Board Member Belt, is that right? All in favor?
Student board representative votes yes, and motion passes unanimously.
3.7, student performance, Mount Whitney High School Florico Dance Group, Assistant Superintendent Mark Thompson.
Yeah, students come on in. Yeah, let's give them a big hand. While they're doing that, board, would you guys like to come out front? And then I'll do our quick introductions and get them going. So as they're setting up, I just wanted to share this is our Mount Whitney Folklorical under the direction of Bea Rodriguez and Julio Gutierrez, who's our World Language Club leader as well. And we're just excited to have them here tonight. Let's put our hands together for them and they'll get started in just a moment.
¡Ay, mi guachinango bonito! De ti me estoy acordando. Para Mario, zapatearle con ganas. ¡Vamos a echar chalazo! ¡Ahora, Arturito! ¡Jálale al arpa como tú sabes, cansado! ¡Eso mero!
Thank you so much. Parents, you are welcome to join them if you want, or you're welcome to stay with us this evening for our meeting. But let's give them one more big hand of applause as our board members head back to their seats. Thank you.
Four point one, spotlight on good things happening in the district. Superintendent Schrum.
All right, well, good evening, Madam President, board members, our audience. Let's give another round of applause for our Mount Whitney students. Just an excellent job. It's always wonderful to start these meetings showcasing our talent, of which we have so much in our district. Very proud of our students, especially our staff, our parents, and our teachers that support those events and make those things happen. They just don't happen overnight, right? It takes talented staff to support that, and we are very proud of our staff as well. So lots to be proud of in our spotlight tonight. So I'll get right to it with a reminder about our foundations, and you can see there are beliefs and commitments to our students and to our community and to our parents. And of course, our vision, every student learning every day, and our mission, our mission, every student learning every day, and our vision, every student empowered to achieve future success. You're going to see some examples of that as we spotlight the district. So beginning with literacy nights, a lot of our schools held literacy nights the past month. We have some photos here from Annie R. Mitchell, Royal Oaks Elementary, had a great turnout. And we so thank our families, our teachers and staff again for sponsoring such wonderful events for our families to come out. While I'm proud of all of these, one that I'm really proud of is an event called Expanding Horizons Conference. Now, this is held at Porterville College, and here you see some examples of our students, 4th through 8th grade students at Royal Oaks Elementary Girls, attended the Expanding Horizons Conference at Porterville Conference this month. It provides students with hands-on science, technology, engineering, mathematics activities, and connects students with women in the STEM field. So again, girls, you might have heard girls code and other sorts of things. So again, a great opportunity for our students to see what's possible, not only in our school system, but in a career and in a profession. And to see students or to see people who look like themselves as leaders in those fields is very powerful. Spotlight here on Creekside, developing a Zen garden. Creekside Community Day School students giving back to their community while developing valuable life skills when they created their campus Be Kind to Your Mind garden. The garden will serve as a meditative space, carefully curated and maintained by the students. Students earned restorative service hours, engaged with the community, and helped develop hands-on skills for life. So if I need a little break, I know where I will go for a few moments of Zen. So congratulations to those students. Spotlight in our visual and performing arts. Lots of, again, accomplishments here. Congratulations to Redwood Ranger Marching Band and Color Guard for their performance at the 2023 Visalia Band Invitational. Now, for the second year in the row, they took home the top prize and are awarded the Grand Sweepstakes Champions. Redwood also took Field Music Sweepstakes, Field Performance, High Music, and High Percussion Awards. El Diamante silver medaled in their division at the same event. They also bronze medaled at the Sierra Cup Classic Driller Marching Showcase with a percussion caption and the Orange Cove Field Tournament. Lastly, as a reminder, all of our fall plays are coming up, but a huge shout out to our bands. I mean, all participate. I mean, think about that's all weekend travel events. Again, our coach, our band directors, our parents, and all those students, the commitment that's involved in these activities is truly amazing. Moving on to community outreach, Annie R. Mitchell Global Learning Charter in Four Creeks held a trunk or treat nights with amazing family turnouts. Some included movie family nights, bluegrass music, and free activities for students. Crowley hosted their first preschool family night. Families engaged in decorating pumpkins, enjoyed snacks, music, and students received a free book and take-home art activities. And then, of course, just this weekend, we recognized and celebrated Veterans Day. I want to say thank you to, we have several veterans in the audience. If you would, please stand. A couple of our executive cabinet members, we want to recognize you. Come on, come on, come on. Thank you for our service. And also at several of our schools, Elbow Creek, Crestwood, they hosted Veterans Day activities. And they also shared songs, poems, and students sharing what veterans mean to me. Also want to make a mention that we had a podcast about a week ago where some of our students, along with Dr. Jacob Hutchinson, also one of our team members who's a veteran, talked about the service. And these are students who are interested or actually already going into the military. And so that's a great podcast if you haven't had a chance to listen to that as well. So saluting not only our current veterans, but also our future veterans. Now it's all, I mean, you know, the accomplishments of our staff and students is really great. We are very honored in our district to have such great talent. And so I want to spotlight a few members tonight. With over 2,000 members, the California Council for Adult Education, CCAE, is the largest professional organization serving adult education in California. We already know how proud we are of our Visalia Adult School and what they do for our community. And so recently, 4 members of our Visalia Adult School were selected by the Central Section Award winners. They are Tiffany Bridgewater Rowe, received Calco Award for Outstanding Teacher of Adults. Tammy Olson received the Caroline S. Casita Award Meritorious for Leadership in Adult Education. I understand that is a very high honor. Lydia Borquez received the Excellent in Student Support Services Award, and Carmen Becerra received the Charles O. Peterson Meritorious Service Award in Classified Status, providing outstanding support service to adult education. If you are here with us tonight, would you please stand for a minute? Spotlight on our expanded learning opportunities. ELOP, in partnership with Alevo, held our first ever district-wide soccer tournament with all 27 elementary schools participating. Now, Linwood Eagles took home the tournament win, and after-school programs are essential to keeping students connected to school once instruction is over. And so I had a chance to attend that event, and just the excitement on not only the kids' faces and the parents' faces, it was very contagious. I mean, it was just amazing. They took over Royal Oaks Field. It was just, we had central section referees. We had high school kids. We had cheer teams. I mean, it really was an amazing event. And so I'm really proud. We have something special here in Visalia with our ELOT program that really is changing lives for our kids. And I can't say enough about the work of that team. And as a reminder, winter intersession sign up is happening now. This 3-week program starts on December 18th. So check out the information online, sign up, because those spots will go pretty quick. Just recently also celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month, and you see a couple of examples of things that occurred here. Annie R. Mitchell and Crowley held Dia de Muertos celebrations during the day. These events, along with instructional pieces, help build cultural proficiency among our students that will serve them during and after they leave the district. And you also see some images there that we captured at El Diamante as their world language classes also engaged in education around that day. Of course, I learned last year early on, get to these two events. If you don't go to anything, I mean, I do go to a lot, but if you don't, go to this. So happy to report we had a great Battle of the Saddle and Cowhide event. Congratulations to Golden West and Mount Whitney, who were victorious in this year's games. Thank you to again, the excitement of the students, community members coming out to this alumni. Really is a great event for the city of Visalia. Also want to thank our city partners, Visalia Police Department and others. We meet every month with them, and when it comes to special events like this and graduation, they work really closely with us to make sure that we keep everyone safe. And so we also want to thank them for their work and their service. We have some students that we want to spotlight tonight. And again, if we have several here tonight, and so when I call your name for your accomplishment, if you would stand up so that we could recognize you. And thank you for being here tonight. I know there's no place else you'd rather be on a Tuesday night, right? At school night. So, but we're glad you're here. So 2 Redwood High School student, Future Business Leaders of America, known as FBLA, were selected to the very prestigious National FBLA Officer Councils. So we have Adam Hacker, 12th grade, and Chloe Sills, 11th grade. And I think you're here. Stand up and be recognized. Congratulations. Very proud of you. Thank you. 2 of our VTech students were selected as personifications of various character awards from TCOE. So out of 5,000 applicants, we had Xavier Palomino and Aiden Dowdy honored as part of the top 30 finalists for trustworthiness and fairness respectfully. I'm not sure if they're here tonight. If they're not, okay. But we congratulate them on a great honor. We have Mr. Wyrick, the ag mechanics teacher, was also nominated for his, honored for his nomination of the students. So again, it's our teachers and others that make these things happen. And so we have some incredible students and teachers who help keep everyone connected to school. In partnership with the Visalia Kiwanis, TCOE's Character Counts program celebrated this fall's Pursuing Victory with Honor award winners. The Visalia Kiwanis recognizes student athletes nominated by their coaches each season for sportsmanship. Several of the students recognized were the USD students. We have Devin Ibarra and Elizabeth Beck of El Diamante High School, Elise and Juan, Nolan Garden of Golden West, and Noah Sanchez and Ariel Tobin of Mount Whitney High School, along with Ashlyn Guttner and Magnus Burgess of Redwood High School. So congratulations to those individuals. Also, some staff accomplishments that we want to take a minute to call out tonight. So the CIF is the central, I shouldn't have said that. I'm forgetting the I. Interscholastic Federation, yes, that's the governing body of the sports world. And so they have recognized several of our coaches as Coaches of the Year nominees. And so we want to recognize California Coaches of the Year, Ken Clyburn from El Diamante Volleyball, Jason Vieira, Redwood Girls Soccer, and then also our Quarterback Club Coach of the Year, Nathan Chamberlain from Mount Whitney High School. So if those individuals are here tonight, if you would please stand so that we can recognize you. I'm sure they're watching from home, so we can clap. Because again, why wouldn't you be watching the board meeting, right? That's what you should be doing. All right, moving on, another event I'm very proud of, and I think we could all agree that civic education and awareness is very important, more so than ever before. And I'm very proud of the work that this district has been undergoing for the past couple of years now to engage our students in civic awareness through the Civic Seal of Engagement. Now that's, you complete a project, it's a multi-step, multi-year event. Basically, at the end of the day, you've created a project, and you get recognized at graduation with a seal on your diploma, and also, I believe, a stole that is bestowed to wear for graduation as well. Not to mention just, what that does for someone's awareness of how to navigate society, how to navigate a system. And so this past week, we had students from all high schools invited to attend the Civic Seal of Engagement Leadership Summit. They actively participate in the summit and subsequent projects. Students are not only enriching their personal development, but contributing significantly to the betterment of their community. And our team here knows we have a little bit of a goal here, that we're going to have the most students recognized as a senior receiving the Civic Seal out of every district in California. So we're not far from it, but that's our goal. We want to have the most, and I think that's a very worthwhile thing to pursue. Also, we had one of our assembly members attend. Assembly member Vince Fong came to our district a couple of weeks ago. Board President Gamoyan, Dr. Cifuentes, and I had the opportunity to showcase our Vista Dual Immersion program at Mountain View for Assemblyman Vince Fong. We use this time to also talk to him about dual immersion, preschool, Proposition 28, and infrastructure, just to name a few projects. He was very amazed, and we just appreciate his support of our school district and education. Also held our joint meeting with VUSD and the city of Visalia. Great relationship. This was a great opportunity for our boards to come together. Also, thank you to our teams for developing our employee wellness event. That was well attended also, beautiful weather outside. And so we know it's important for ourselves and our employees to be healthy, so that take care of ourselves, so that we can take care of our students and others that we serve. Another exciting little event that we've been doing, October's a long month. Once you hit November, you begin to see Thanksgiving, you begin to see, that sort of thing. But October's a long month, right? And so we wanted to do something a little exciting just to celebrate our teachers, because we know that students learn best when their teacher is in front of them, right? And so we wanted to do a little recognition. And so we've developed a 3-week campaign aimed to boost attendance. Thank you to CSEA and VUTA that co-sponsored this event with us. 3 elementary schools, 1 middle and 1 high school with the highest attendance rates received taco truck lunches. Now, I'm not sure you can see right there, but we do theme, right? And so our assistant superintendent of human resources did dress as a taco truck, just to add some excitement to the school staff as they came in there. And so far, some of our winners that we have had have been GLC, Ridgeview, Mineral King, Golden West, Mountain View, Cottonwood Creek, and Sequoia. I believe this week, and there've been some challenges that I've become aware of that have been levied by some of our team. But the end of this week concludes the 3 weeks. And so I believe there'll be those winners, but then also our overall winners will be announced as well. And they'll receive not only the taco, but some additional things as well. But at the end of the day, I just want to say thank you to our teachers. Thank you to our leaders, our principals, for just making this an exciting time. And again, all because we know at the end of the day, our students learn best when they're taught by their teacher. So thank you for that. Also held our teacher advisories this month. It's great to receive honest and constructive feedback. I really appreciate this group. They were dedicated. They came with thoughts. They came with solutions. And so I look forward to engaging with this group of leaders throughout the year. Talking about our teachers, want to shout out and our staff to our teaching and learning STEM team. 2 content specialists from the STEM team, Shelley Toss and Tara Borowicz, took VUSD's math focus areas and presented at California Mathematics Council South Conference. They also led 2 sessions and coached teachers, instructional coaches, and administrators in the application of our balanced model. And why is this important? It's important because not only do we have highly qualified staff and leaders in our district, it's important not only to learn from others, but also when we know we have good work occurring, it's important as professionals that we also share that. And so thank you to this team for taking that opportunity. Now, I am going to talk about this for just a minute. So things don't just change because we want them to, or we wish, or, you know, our academic performance is at a level of all of us in this room collectively are not satisfied about. So what are we going to do about it? Do we talk about it, or do we actually engage in practices that change student outcomes? That means we have to change how we teach sometimes. That means we have to change how we do things. That is not easy. And so I want to give a huge shout out. I've talked about this group before, to our Math 1 teachers and our district staff that have been helping to lead and coordinate this effort. You remember, board, we did a report on our Math 1 model at the last board meeting. And so let me talk to you a little bit about what's happened. So I don't ever use the thing, but I'm going to use the color, right? So one of the things that we've done is together developed assessments that every school, Math 1 gives at the same time, round about the same time, based on the rigor of the standard. In other words, an assessment that truly reflects the depth of the work that the students need to know and understand. The teachers come together. They were just here at the district office the other day. They talk about the work. They talk about student misconceptions they may have. They talk about what that's going to mean for their instruction. And then they go forth and they do what they do best, which is teach and make sure students are learning. And when we first began, and so now for the first time, we have a common assessment that we can look across every classroom. Because as you know, what we have said is, it should not matter what classroom or what school you're in, the type of instruction you're receiving should be excellent regardless. And so you can see at the first benchmark, about 22% of the students were showing they didn't quite grasp that skill yet, right? 28% were developing, 23% were nearing, 17% were on target, and 8% exceeds. What do good teachers do when they see data like this? They don't sit around and say, oh my goodness, I taught that. What's wrong with that student, right? They come together and they say, you know what? Let's figure out what happened. What did we do well? Who did what well? What can we learn from each other? What can we do better, right? They engaged in a continuous improvement cycle, which is one of the things that this board has placed in their theory of action. And I want you to look and see what happened between the first benchmark and the second. Now, these are different standards. I want to point that out. But I want to show what happens when you're intentional about your work. The percentage of students that did not meet benchmark dropped by 14%. The percent that was developing dropped by 2%. The nearing dropped by 9%. The on target increased by 15%, and the exceeds increased by 10. I have chill bumps. This is how you ensure students are learning every day. This is true professionalism from our teachers. I mean, I can tear up on this. It's that important. Math 1 is foundational. This is going to change outcomes for students. And I want to highlight a few individuals. I want to spotlight Cindy Spalding from Redwood, who had highest growth in percent of students reaching proficiency. Kevin Jones from Mount Whitney, overall growth in student performance. And I want to acknowledge the continuous learning cycle, all Math 1 teachers. They gathered yesterday to review this and began planning for the next model. And I believe a couple of these teachers are here with us tonight. If you would please stand so that we could recognize you. Thank you all for being here. And I just want to say that what we're learning from our teachers, we're going to use to replicate this type model across all of our subjects. And I also want to shout out to our math team, our district math team. I think you're here tonight. If you would please stand, Jim and team. Yes, please stand. And again, I know I need to move on from this slide, but I want these teachers here to know this is investing in your professionalism because we believe you need to be equipped with the greatest skills, the resources, and we're learning from our teachers. They're sharing back. Jim can tell you, I ask him, did you ask the teachers what's working? Are we listening to our teachers as well? And I always want to make sure we're getting that feedback, but I just can't thank you all enough for being willing to do something different and different, you know, in our instruction, maybe teach something a little different or whatever it might be, right? But at the end of the day, look at what's happening for our students. And that's what it's all about. So thank you. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you. All right. Moving on, another great event last night, and you see a poster up on our wall. We've taught before board 2 years ago, 45% of our kids were eligible to go to a 4-year school. They met the A through G requirement, but only 15% were going into a 4-year institution. That's a lot of talent left behind. And so our team engaged Andre Pacina and others. We went and visited Fresno State, Fresno Pacific, UC Merced, and said, we want to partner with you and figure out a way. How do we get more of our kids that qualify? Well, first, how do we get more kids qualified? And we've increased our percentage of students A through G eligible, which we've shared. But that's not enough. How do we make sure they know how to navigate something that's very complicated to get to a university? And we know UC and Cal State, it's challenging to get in. And so what can we do? And so we engaged in the Bulldog Bound program. Now, if you're a 9th grader, and by the way, almost every 9th grader is eligible to be in this program. Actually, every 9th grader, I believe, because you're just starting to develop your high school grades and things, and I'm looking for confirmation. And so you sign up for this program, you fill out a form, you get an actual Fresno State student ID, you get access to their library, you get access to the things the students have access to, maybe football tickets, right? Those are a hot item. Well, there was a little incident, but they'll recover. Anyway, so, and then each summer, Fresno State is doing programming where you get to go on to campus, you interact, all those sorts of things, right? And then our counselors are aware of who these students are. So as a 9th grader, we can say, listen, today, in 4 years, you can walk into a UC. And if their grades maybe that first semester start to come back a little bit where they don't need to be, we can engage that parent and say, listen, your kid's got automatic admission. You better do something about this grade right here. And so last night we had the opportunity, we had the vice president and some others from Fresno State came down, and we recognized our students who are either senior or somewhere along that continuum. You can enter this as a senior, junior, sophomore, freshman, and recognize those students. And several of them, many of them, I think 60 plus, are getting guaranteed admission, and those letters are coming out as we speak. And so they're getting admission into a University of California school before anybody else. And so if any parent is listening to me, any future student, be on the lookout for this program, not only with our Bulldog Bound program, but also our UC Merced program. You get connected to that 8th grade going into 9th grade, you stay on track, you are guaranteed, not if or a maybe, you are guaranteed admission into a University of California system school. That is how we change the story of educational attainment in the Central Valley. So thank you to Andy DeMeo, Krista Taylor and team, Brandon Gridiron and others, Andre Pacina, who helped bring this together. And I cannot wait to see this grow and see those numbers change so that every one of our students who's A through G qualified walks into a university. So thank you for that work. Also, as we look into November, we've had several observances. Thanksgiving Day coming up, National Psychologist Month, Native American Heritage Month. We have a great event coming up this Thursday at Sequoia High School. The American Indian Program Resource Festival on November 16th. So looking forward to that. Also, our spotlight on social media. We also had an additional podcast on Depression and Awareness Month, National Bullying Prevention Month, Principals Month, paper, our tutoring program, and our last High Five Friday at La Jolla Middle School. And also want to mention, for the first time, our board came together and said, how do we work to engage with our community? And so we had 7 sessions, conversations with our board members. Our last event was held last night. And it was great to hear from our community, our parents, and our staff. And I'll look forward to working with the board on what do we learn from this event and what can this ongoing collaboration and communication with our community look like. So thank you to our Board of Education for really, truly engaging with our community. And that's a lot, but we have a lot to be proud of and celebrate. And so, Madam President, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? All right, thank you, Mr. Schrum. 4.2, update on special education systems, Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services, Andy DeMeo.
Well, hello. President Gamoyan, Superintendent Schrum, School Board. I am here with you tonight to give you a bit of an update as to where we are with our special education programs in our school district. You may recall over this past year, we've been working hard analyzing the work we're doing with all of our students. To start with, I just wanted to point out that as a school board, you charged our educational team to really work hard to establish the foundations that we've listed up here. We've established those core beliefs and those core commitments. And I think it's important to note off to the side, we're saying that our work today is to make sure every student is learning every day. And we need to do that to ensure that in the future, every student will be empowered to achieve success. We don't say these kids or those kids, we're saying every child. So I wanted to just point out this piece at the bottom where Mr. Schrum alluded to it earlier. Part of this process is suggesting that we really take a stance of continuous improvement. How can we constantly look at the work we're doing, analyze the effectiveness, and move on towards different ways of doing things to get better outcomes for our students? So it's in that spirit that I wanted to talk a little bit about our special education students who receive that type of support. So to start with, let's just talk about where we are. So the information I'm going to share with you is information that talks about performance from last school year. So this first one, as we know, every year the state of California asks schools to conduct typical tests that we can use then to compare outcomes of students across the state. That particular test gives the school a dashboard, and the dashboard gives us some results. Well, what we find when we're talking about math is we know that several of our student groups are performing below where we'd like them. And I want to point out that our students with disabilities, again, that's the students who receive special ed supports, are performing the very lowest in our district. So much so that that represents students in that category are falling 140 points below what the standard is for their particular grade level. Similar, when we talk about English language arts, once again, we see that our students with disabilities, again, are the lowest performing group in our district. And for English language arts, that's representing a point difference of 110 points away from where they need to be successful at that particular standard. We know our students can do better. Another thing I want to point out to you is something, again, we've talked about before, is where is the state and the country when we're talking about students being identified with special education? We know the last few years have been difficult. We came out of a pandemic, lots of missed opportunities in the classroom, lots of struggles in the world we're living in. And we know that children are no different, right? We're a reflection of what's happening. But what we're seeing is the identification of students that appear to need some additional supports in the classroom. What you're going to see up here is the past 3 years, the number of students who have qualified for special ed support just in preschool. Those are our youngest learners. And the concerning part about that is the numbers growing at those youngest ages. Let's look and see what that looks like overall. Again, I know it's difficult for you to see the numbers, but what you will see is that kind of upward trajectory of identification of students that, again, looks like need some additional supports in school. What that represents, right now we're up to about 4,000 students in our district, over 10% of children who are identified as needing some additional supports. That's 1,000 students, over a 25% increase over the past couple of years. It's indicating to us that perhaps we need to look a little bit deeper, find out what's going on so that we can see how might we better serve these particular students. Another piece of information I want to show you is this graph. Again, don't be terribly concerned about the numbers, but I want you to see the disparity between them. What this is going to show you are our students who have been identified as needing additional supports in special education. On the left, you're going to see a graph that represents elementary. In the middle is our middle school students, and to the right is our high school students. And what this shows you is, and we've talked before, our goal is always to make sure our students who require additional supports have a home in general education, right? Every child in our district deserves that opportunity to spend time with their colleagues. So what this is going to show you is the percentage of times students are spending in those general education settings. So the blue number on the right indicates that chunk of students, and it's about 14% of them, spend less than 40% of their time in a general education setting. The middle number is somewhere between student, and it's like 8% there, spend between 40% and 70% of their day in a general education setting. And the final column shows you the largest chunk, which says that almost 80% of our kids are spending the majority of their day, more than 80% of their day, in a general education setting. Now, we might think, wow, that's awesome, right? That's our goal. But I want you to see, again, the disparity between the two. And let me put up another piece of information for you. What this is going to show you is the state target, the suggestion that says we should have about, at this year, about 60 to 65% of our kiddos should be able to, based on their needs, to spend 80% of their time in special education. So it makes me wonder, when I look at this, I see that it appears our students either spend most of their day in a gen ed setting without opportunities to go into a special ed setting, or they spend most of their day in a special ed setting without opportunities to go in gen ed. There doesn't appear to be much in between. Again, it's calling out the opportunity for us to dig a little bit deeper, find out perhaps how might we think differently about what this is going to look like. So it suggested to us our programming needs. And what we're suggesting is perhaps our continuum of service delivery models that, again, that's the opportunity to allow students to receive the services they need based on their individual needs. Perhaps we need to spend a little bit of time to determine how might we look at that a little bit differently to create different opportunities which will result in different outcomes for our students so that they have the opportunity to create a more successful future. To do that, let me show you this. And again, what I want you to pick out on this piece right here are the shapes, which are very intentional. You're going to notice that it's designed in a circle, which suggests no beginning and no end. But I want you to look at the arrows because the arrows indicate directionality. And for each of these sections, different bodies of work live in there. And the point of a continuous improvement model is to constantly be asking ourselves, how are things going based on evidence, based on collaboration? So the work we are working on is to spend some time to really think thoughtfully about what this is going to look like. Currently, we're in this region right here. And I want to draw your attention to a piece of work we're working on right now at the middle school level. So as a former middle school principal, and let me just tell you, being a principal was an amazing job, especially at the middle school level. It's an amazing time for students, but it's a challenging time for students. And I know parents out there, and I know up here, middle school is a time where we worry lots about our students, right? It's that time between childhood and semi-adulthood. We know their brains are still forming. We know they're kind of taking lots of opportunities, and it's only 2 years. So as much as we work on that engagement piece at the elementary level and at the high school level, it's more of a challenge for us to do so at the middle school level because in our system, we have those kiddos for 2 years. So we recognize that we had great opportunities at the middle school level to perhaps try out some of the things we've been thinking about. So our data suggested that the middle school level was a great chance for us. So let me just talk a little bit about what services looked like before at the middle school level. So before, If you were a child who had special needs, special education supports, the primary way for you to get those services typically looked like more of a pull-out system. We would provide those services in a setting with your special ed colleagues. We would do lots of content development with you. And again, that was a thing that worked well for us for a time. We also see that it gave us a chance to focus on content, but not necessarily skill development. Our data told us that perhaps we had an opportunity to think a little bit differently. This year, we did think a little bit differently and we acted a little bit differently. The changes we made called for a more inclusive model. So our students are receiving their supports in a general education setting in a format that allows a general education teacher and a special education teacher to work in tandem. So my gen ed teachers are there to provide the content. My special ed teacher there is to provide the skill development to make sure that child is accessing it. It's allowing us to really think about the whole child, and it's really allowing us to think about what that could look like. Now, I want you to know that this shift didn't happen overnight. We also recognize that not only did we see the opportunity to address the academic needs of students, but this also gave us and is giving us a great opportunity to really think about the social emotional needs of the students, and most importantly, setting them on the pathway to success for the future. Now, I would be remiss if I said, this has just been a walk in the park and this has been the easiest thing we've ever done, right? Change is incredibly difficult. And like Mr. Schrum was talking about a bit ago, this change did not come from me, right? I mean, I sit in my office and I think about all these great things to do, but I'm not the one doing the hard work every day with our students. I have to take a time to just give my sincere thanks to the teachers, to the classified staff, to the principals that are here tonight. I know this has not been an easy lift by any means. It still isn't. We still have work to do. But I'm excited to say that because of the efforts and the desire to try something differently, we are seeing some positive things. Let me show you. What we're seeing is this change has given us the opportunity to really focus more on the individual needs of all students. And when we talk just nuts and bolts, perhaps, we've seen a very positive decline in the amount of negative discipline behaviors with students who receive specialized supports. Another thing I want to point out, because board, as you know, this is something you've asked us to really think about, is expulsions, right? We have seen an incredible decrease in the amount of middle school students in special education who have had behaviors that suggest an expulsion might be necessary. Now, let me make sure I clarify, that does not mean we're ignoring the behavior. What it means is the behavior has not taken place, meaning we didn't have to act on it, which is a very exciting thing. And of course, the outcomes of the co-teaching is not just benefiting those students with special education, but it's benefiting all the students in the classroom. Now, as I said, we're not done. We still have work to do. Some of the things and areas of opportunities we see is opportunities to continue that thought process and professional development as we work through this. How can we find ways to make this even better, even more successful? Another huge opportunity we have is to really take a look at our master schedule. That's that piece of work we do to create our courses at the middle school level, at the high school level, and at the elementary school level. That schedule is based on what our students need, what they like, what they want, the things that are going to help them be successful. So like Mr. Schrum suggested, if we want our students to be successful in high school and beyond, we have to start in middle school. We have to start in elementary school, and our master schedule allows us to do that. And finally, it's allowing us to really think individually about our individual student needs to make sure they're getting what they need to be successful. And with that said, I put up here some quotes for you that I just wanted you to notice. I've mentioned before that this process did not happen overnight. It came about, should I say, with lots of conversations, lots of collaborative work with staff, with families, with the community, with students to tell us what's going on. And more specifically, why this is important. So I just wanted to point out some of the comments that they've seen. And finally, I'm going to ask my friend, Mr. Boone here, we created just a quick little video to talk just a little bit about specifically special education and highlighting the middle school work we're doing.
Having an inclusive and
So I could show
environment
a little
is
bit. Okay, here we go.
beneficial to all our students. Our students in the SLC are benefiting by learning, and we're pushing them to be more independent, learning at grade level. It's also beneficial to our gen ed students because they're learning a lot about diversity, inclusivity, about every student's unique difference. It's just becoming a positive environment for all staff and students, and our students in the SLC have taught us so much. So the key for us is to just be open enough to communicate and continue the dialogue on a daily basis, and we're doing what's best for students.
So co-teaching for me has just made it everything possible. There were days when I taught my first 2 years of teaching when I'd look out into my classroom and I would feel extremely overwhelmed by all of the needs of my students. Having another teacher who matches me and matches my level of energy and creativity has made it made me feel so much more confident to try new things. Just feeling comfortable, and obviously as a dynamic and as a team we have to be comfortable with each other, but reaching that point and feeling okay to make mistakes with each other has just really sparked new life in teaching for me. And I would love for other teachers to have that co-teach team and have that confidence that co-teaching has given me this year.
Having Miss Moda around is really good because really fun because she helps me with my anger issues, and whoever has anger issues, she helps and cares for them. I'd start getting mad, and Miss Moda, she looks at me and she's like, okay, she's having a bad day, Miss Taylor, go on. And then Miss Moda comforts me outside and just tells me, you're okay, you're a good kid, you're really pretty, you're really beautiful. And I'm all, thank you.
I see a lot of students that come from the elementary level. They're very nervous about not just having one teacher, but they're having several teachers. And then having to differentiate of, am I having a learning center still? And I notice a lot of the students, they feel more comfortable now knowing that they're not going to be pulled out of one of their core classes. They're actually going to be in a class and someone's coming to provide for them, whether it's an educational specialist or a paraprofessional. I see a lot of the students feel more at ease, and then they're not feeling as, oh, is this person just coming for me, or they're sticking out. My biggest support over it is, as long as you're with someone that understands you, you can work well with, it's going to work. Regardless if you have a difficult year with students or if you have the best, group of students, if you have a really good partner, it's gonna work. I truly believe in that.
Chuck, can you advance it for me just once? Oh, there we go. Okay, so school board members, again, you have charged us and challenged us to ensure that every one of our students is learning every single day, because you have committed to saying that every one of our students is empowered to achieve success. I just wanted you to know that in educational services and in special education and in general education, we're committed to doing that. So I thank you for the opportunity. And with that said, I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Comments or questions, board members? I'd just like to make a comment. I walked into a middle school classroom where they had the content teacher and the special ed teacher. And what I loved, I couldn't tell who was who. And so there was amazing teaching going on in that classroom. So thank you. Thank you, middle school principals, for taking the risk in doing this. I think it's the way we need to go.
Agreed.
Want to say, I also, just the fact that the discipline has gone down, that we're co-teaching and we're having our students access our general education on a much larger basis. I just appreciate that because I think that's what we needed for a long time. So
Mhm.
thank you.
Just to piggyback on that, I want to echo Trustee Naylor's comments. I think one of the concerns that I've always been thinking through is, especially when we look at expulsions of students, looking at groups that have been disproportionately, expelled in those numbers, and to see that number be at 0 right now, I'm hopeful that can continue. And I think that speaks to the work that our staff have been doing and our teachers have been doing. So thank you.
Mhm. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DeMeo. 4.3, focus on business services. Chief Business Officer Nathan Hernandez. And team.
And team, yes. Good evening, President Gamoyen, members of the board, Superintendent Shrum. So I'm very proud to present our small but mighty business services team as we share, as we've done, -1, as we've done with other groups, in other divisions. We're focusing just a little bit on our business services team, some of the work that we're doing, some of our continuous improvement processes, and how we connect the work that we do to this work that we've been talking about in instruction and in our classrooms, and linking the work on the business services side to our VUSD foundations, our mission of every student learning every day, and our vision of every student empowered to achieve future success. And as we look at that, our folks really, we enjoy working behind the scenes, I think. But we do know that we need to link this work back to our core beliefs and commitments and commitments for student learning, so that we can be more efficient in how we support teachers in their classrooms and administrators on school sites, and just be more effective as a division. And so we've listed here just some ways that how we see business services through the lens of our core beliefs and commitments. When we talk about all students achieving at high levels and demonstrating continuous growth, we are partly responsible for providing resources and equipment in equipping students and staff with resources that they need for achievement and growth, as well as on our commitment for student learning, providing those staffing allocations and doing so in an equitable manner as far as resources for our programs. I'm going to introduce our team here. We have from purchasing, Mr. Jerry Lemus, but he's not able to join us. So I'm going to take on some of explaining some of the purchasing department's work. Finance and payroll, Mrs. Kyla Johnson. From tech services, Mr. Chuck Boone behind the computer screen. From budget, Ms. Jessica Villarreal. And then from attendance, accounting and internal audits, Mr. Axel Kondo. So we're all going to jump in here in a little bit, but I'm going to talk a little bit about the purchasing department. Purchasing also includes our warehouse and our print shop. And this team is responsible for ensuring that we follow all of our legal requirements for procurement. So that's bidding and contracting and purchases of materials and everything that goes along with the dollars that we spend that are not on people. And so that's what that team's responsible for. One of the areas that they've been really working to improve on has been in communicating our deadlines and making sure that we're doing that in coordination with our budget team. So when we're telling sites and departments like this, these are the resources that you have available, we're also talking about the timing and the requirements for spending those funds and the deadlines. So just a lot of coordination work done between those two teams. If you've not been out to our warehouse, our district warehouse, this is a small but mighty team. Also, this is what the warehouse looks like. And it has been a huge improvement in the organization of the warehouse, the inventory and tracking and distribution. I was out there a few weeks ago and I met with Juan, who who knows not just like where the stuff is, but what the stuff is. And we had a really good conversation about foundations and phonics. And I think we're going to see them in a classroom someday, but very proud of the work that that team is doing. And they're very proud of their work as well. So if you get a chance, step on out to the warehouse and take a look. Very well organized. And I'm going to turn it over now to Kyla Johnson, Director of Finance.
Good evening. In finance and payroll, one of the things that we're working on right now is we are working on wrapping up our fiscal year 22-23 year-end audit with our external auditors. We will be bringing that report to you in January for approval, and it'll be our final report for the year. And then we are also working on closing out the calendar year, which will be issuing 1099s to all of our vendors that provide services for us, and then also our W-2s to all of our employees. One of the areas that we are working on in finance is as we move to a new financial system, we're working on taking advantage of the 21st century tools it has to offer. Part of that is reviewing our systems and processes and looking at where we can make improvements. And so one of the areas we have identified is we want to develop a pilot group to work on implementing employee expense reimbursements, and that would be ran through our financial system. This allows us to have employees submit those electronically, and then they can get reimbursed for that. One of the other areas we are working on is transparency of financial information. Monthly, we do provide cash flows to the board as well as financial dashboards. We make sure that we have enough cash to pay our bills. We project that out for the year to make sure that we are good and we are in the green. This next slide here. This slide right here is just a little snapshot of what that is. So at the top is our cash flow. So this shows our expenses and revenues each month and make sure that we have enough cash after we pay our bills and the money that we receive in to continue on throughout the year. And then the two bottom snapshots or our expenses and revenues, just kind of a user-friendly format for that. We do have this tonight in the consent agenda, so you can see the full page of that and what that looks like. But we are wanting to be more transparent with our financial reporting. That helps build trust and accountabilities with parents, teachers, and the community. And also making sure we are managing our financial resources effectively and that we are having a responsible allocation of resources, just to make sure we're good financial stewards of our money. And then lastly, as part of the Every Student Succeeds Act, or ESSA, we are required every year to report on per pupil expenditures. So we will be working on that for the 22-23 school year. That will be done in February. And then this reporting requirement can be used to help ensure we have an equitable allocation of resources, both financial and staffing, to provide better educational tools and opportunities for our students to be successful. Now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Boone.
Good evening, Board. I appreciate the opportunity to share a few forward-looking improvements Tech Services is making primarily towards keeping our systems running as smoothly and efficiently as possible in order to serve students. First thing is we've recently completed a cybersecurity assessment and audit with a highly qualified outside agency. They've used the National Institute of Standards and Technology framework to look at how we do business in the tech services area and technology across the district. They've done external and internal attack surface testing, process documentation, and an audit of vulnerabilities and current practices. We have received the draft report and spent some time, quite a bit of time today going over the draft with the agency today, as a matter of fact. No great big surprises we found, although we have implemented significant improvements over the last couple of years in our security posture. We still have major areas of improvement needed. Primarily a capability to be more proactive to risks and vulnerabilities, included active monitoring, staffing with security as a core duty, including or also formalizing processes and procedures around intrusion, detection, and reactivity, and in the cases of data loss events. You know, we know what to do. There's just not a formal document that says, here's what we are doing. We also need to implement better human security practices, including better password complexity, multi-factor authentication, and security awareness training for all staff. The next thing I'd like to talk about is our redundancy and resiliency project that is actually nearing completion. The project was to mitigate the loss of services during a network outage or a more significant event at our primary data center at the 801 North Mooney facility. What we've done is we've established a secondary data center down here at the district office. Of course, it's good distance away from where we are at 801 North Mooney. We have installed a secondary and parallel redundant internet service from a secondary provider. Installed server and backup clusters for disaster recovery of critical applications like PowerSchool, SIS. And we have relocated Tyler Enterprise ERP financial system to this location to be more accessible to the district office staff. What this all means, kind of in a nutshell, is in the case of an internet outage, say our primary internet provider fails for whatever reason, we are able to route services through our secondary data center and mitigate loss of access and instructional time across the district. Similarly, if there were to be some major event at either of our data centers here or the 801 North Mooney facility, we'll be able to move services to the alternate site to keep up PowerSchool, Tyler, and other mission critical services that we provide. Caveat, although this addresses a large portion of major things that could happen, there are still single points of failure. For instance, we could have an issue at a school like we had at Golden West the other day. The data circuit between Golden West and the district failed. There's really not a lot that we can do about that other than providing a second or redundant circuit to all of the school sites. However, that would be significantly cost prohibitive. The last thing I'd like to talk about is our redesigning of processes and practices within tech services, primarily using data-driven decisions to be more proactive in prevention of high ticket load, particularly in the instance of just what happens right before school starts. You can see on the charts on your the slide, this little bit right here is our daily ticket load throughout the year. And this really big spike right there was the start of school. You know, a lot of staff comes back right then. We know there are a lot of things that need addressing. So we're using this data to make some informed decisions on how we can be a little bit more proactive and lessen the impact, you know, in the classroom. We're including coordination with other trades on how we can get into classrooms and prep them better before school starts. Things like right sizing the printer fleet. Printers are a large portion of our ticket load. It's actually the big pie slice in the upper left there. And also reimagining help desk services, doing things centrally versus field services, and being able to deliver applications better across the district through our domain migration and all devices that we maintain. I appreciate your time and the opportunity to serve here at Visalia Unified. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to our Director of Budgeting, Jessica Villarreal.
For the budget department, we have a couple of reports coming up. we'll bring the first interim to the board on December 12th. And that report just kind of highlights all of the changes that have happened from July 1st through October 31st. And as Kyla mentioned, it gives us an opportunity, these financial reports, to provide some transparency and build trust with our community. In January, the governor's proposal is released, the budget is released, and it formally kicks off our budget development season. But we've already started projecting enrollment and staff meetings for 24-25. And that process entails looking at birth rates and historical trends. But what I'm finding is what we really need is a crystal ball, because it's really hard to determine where these kids are going to end up on day one, on the first day of school. The majority of our budget is based on salaries and benefits, and that's people. And so it's really important that the budget team, payroll, and HR work closely together in the hiring process and the management of positions. And so we try to meet every week to look at our hiring process, new position requests. But beyond the technical piece, these meetings allow us to build our relationships. And together we look at our systems and see how we can do better. And one of the things is looking at our financial system and really diving in, exploring new modules, and making our hiring process more efficient. This process is ongoing as we follow the continuous improvement process. And now I'll pass it over to Axel.
Good evening. So thank you. For the attendance accounting and internal audit team. So we truly believe that students who attend school every day get to learn every day. And when they learn every day, they are able to achieve success. So on the attendance team, the way we see it is that attendance data is a good indicator of future student success. And for that, the attendance team ensure that the attendance data that's collected from the site is consolidated, reviewed, and submitted to the county as well as state agency timely. We also provide professional development opportunity for our staff. We write, guide and desk manuals so that they are better equipped to know how to deal with the different situation as it pertains to attendance. We believe that data integrity is very important and essential as far as how we can see intervention, as far as providing student support, and also for funding. So that's in a nutshell how our attendance accounting team help the school site and the district. Part of what we also do is working with student body organization, or Associated Student Body, or ASB. So ASB provide a significant aspect of the social, the social aspect of school, and allow students to be able to connect with their classmates, with the school, their teachers. So in order to do that, we engage in providing frequent training and professional development opportunity as it pertains to student body organization, and help our staff and students raise and spend fund in a way that is allowable, and to do those things that are important, like dances and VAPA and athletics and everything that makes school fun. And such training also include best practice as far as how to work with our school connected organization and provide more opportunity for parents and parent group to engage with the learning and the extracurricular activities. So part of what we do also is providing audit preparedness. So usually every year in January, we do like a mock audit where we go to the site and we are able to go over with them, like for example, in attendance, with what the actual audit that will be done in May will look like, so that our staff is prepared. They kind of know, we cheer them on things that they do right, and we provide recommendation on the things that we can improve on, so that they are prepared and can better face the external audit. So I believe now I'm going to pass back to Nathan, Mr. Hernandez.
So that's a little bit into our world. We're happy to stick around and answer any questions if you've got any.
Any questions or comments? Mr. or Dr. Otto?
Yeah, thank you. So you guys go back a long ways here in the district as a team, and it shows because what this division before us has always done is had a strong culture of competence and also collaboration. The division understands that it serves students and isn't an end in itself, and that's a unique thing because many districts, the money guys are all about the money and making sure you protect home base, which is the money, and you put the money away so no one can have the money because the money is the thing. And here, what we've heard throughout tonight's presentation, throughout all presentations here in this room, is that the money serves a purpose, and that is educating kids and making sure that people have what they need to do the good work they do. So thank you to you folks for the work that you do. It's recognized and appreciated.
Thank you for saying it better than I did.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Mr. Hernandez.
Thank you.
5, general public comment. General public comment on any school-related topic may be heard at this time. The board asks that any public comment on an item listed on tonight's agenda be addressed at the time the item comes up for discussion by the board. To comply with the Brown Act, California's open meeting law, board discussion is limited to items on the agenda. Therefore, when receiving public comment for items not on the agenda, the board's role is limited to receiving such comment, and the board may not engage in dialogue with the public. The board thanks the public for its participation in public comment and understanding of the board's responsibility. Pursuant board policy, the board will limit individual comments to no more than 3 minutes and individual topics to 20 minutes. It is recommended you begin your comments by stating your name. Pursuant Crystal Reynolds.
Good evening, board. I just wanted to come up here and say thank you for the conversations, events that you guys had. I was able to attend 2 of them and they were great. And I felt like they were very informative. So I know that's time like outside of your normal schedule. So I really want to say from a parent, I appreciate that. So thank you. I did want to ask, I think I may have asked this before, is that going to be those minutes? Are they going to have minutes for those? Are they going to be available for public to see what went on in those meetings? And if so, where would that be found? So that was just my question. And then the last thing is I wanted to share some exciting news with you guys. So Redwood High School, the dance force team is putting on they're calling it a Central Valley Community Showcase. And it's happening on December 10th. It's a Sunday at 2:00. And it's going to be Redwood High School, but they're also bringing in other local dance studios. So my dance studio is one that's also going to be performing. There's other studios that are going out there that are performing. And I really wanted to throw that out for you guys. If you guys have nothing to do, come watch the talent here in Tulare County, because honestly, we have some amazing dancers in Tulare County. Not only your Redwood High Schools, but the other studios in Visalia, Tulare, the other areas. You got some really, really great talent in the performing arts. So if you get a chance, I would encourage you guys to come out and see it. Again, it's trying to remember, December 10th. It's a Sunday, 2:00 at the LJYM Theater. And I believe they're pre-selling tickets now through December 4th for $10, and then it's $15 at the door. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? All right. Yes.
My name is Coach Holly. I'm the director of AMP here in the USD. I just wanted to get on here and say hello to everyone and let you guys know, I'm here to invoke as much change and positivity in these kids' lives. I'm a social and emotional learning specialist, public speaker, fitness trainer on gym here in town. I always like to let people know because there's a lot of mental health issues going on. And I see that there's a lot of kids that are struggling right now. Our inclusion kids are kids who are, they don't have guidance in the home. So I think that it's really big that we, really work on getting our staff trained in prevention, because I see that there's a lot of staff that are maybe discouraged when it comes to the social emotional aspects of learning with the kids. I'm not, you know, I wouldn't like to say that I don't think that the staff is doing their job, but I think that there's a lot of kids that do need some help. So I think that we could definitely, if we could provide some services in the mental health department, maybe get some kids connected to the Visalia Youth Services, or maybe some different services that'll help with those departments. Again, I'm here to help as much as I can, here to help you guys. I'm a nationally recognized coach. I've developed a great following community, over 105,000 followers. I work with a lot of kids online. I work with a lot of kids here in town. I was a ball player, played in the NFL, played in the CFL. So a lot of these kids, they love that just the positivity that I do provide. And I really want to say that I appreciate you guys' time. I appreciate everything that you guys are doing. I appreciate you letting me get on here on the stage and speak. And I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm 28 years old with a lot of energy, ready to go, cranked up all the time. So appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? All right, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. Would any board member like to pull an item from the consent agenda? May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
On a motion by Board Member Case Solano, second by Board Member Villegas, all in favor?
Student Board Representative votes yes, and motion passes unanimously.
Student Representative Report, Ms. Maui Lewis.
Starting off with El Diamante. El Diamante had a very successful fall sports season. Various teams made it to playoffs, and this past Monday, November 13th, fall sports awards were held at the Mine Shaft. This Friday, November 17th, El Diamante is hosting its Heart Full of Gratitude event, where ASB will be giving out hot chocolate in the morning to show gratitude to students and staff. Link Crew launched the start of their Dude Be Nice week this Tuesday, November 14th. This week is filled with fun activities aimed to spread thankfulness and gratitude on campus. El Diamante is preparing for the winter formal Night of the Nutcracker on December 2nd. ASB is in charge of making nutcracker decorations for the dance. Golden West brought home the two biggest wins of the season, winning the saddle and the paddle against El Diamante, and both football and girls water polo also made it through a few rounds of playoffs. Golden West is hosting their Staff versus Students rally this Friday, November 17th, with a Minions theme. Staff and students participate in friendly battles such as musical chairs, a Minion relay, Dress the Minion, charades, Minions Jeopardy, and Minion bowling. Golden West is also beginning to prepare for the biggest holiday event of Adopt a Star. Each year, Golden West collects small gifts and delivers them to the feeder elementary schools to give back to our awesome community. Golden West has begun a new way of celebrating our amazing sports teams with a mini rally. They have a short announcement of their names read at the beginning of lunch, followed by a luncheon of their choice in Golden West ASB room. The Mount Whitney Pioneer football team brought home the hide. In addition, they are league champions and city champions. It has been 23 years since this has happened. The Mount Whitney staff and students came out full force for the quarterfinal playoff game. Staff members wore player jerseys on Wednesdays. Cheer and dance created a tunnel as students entered school on Thursday. The entire school had a tailgate party at lunch where there was music, cornhole, and Connect Four. Mount Whitney gave away 400 hot dog sack lunches. At the end of the day, Cheer, Elevate, Band, and the football boys had a parade through the halls chanting our fight song. To cap it off, the Pioneers had a Rooter bus with 58 students on it who all received a Mount Whitney shirt, goodie bag, and rally towel. It was awesome to see the Pioneer family unite. Thank you to all who contributed. Multiple clubs on campus are providing food and clothing for families during this holiday season. Redwood Drama premiered its fall play Alice in Wonderland and 30 Reasons Not to Be in a Play, November 1st through the 4th. Redwood Drama provided great entertainment for all of Redwood to enjoy through these two plays. Redwood Ranger Marching Band and Color Guard performed at the WBA Regional Championship in Kingsburg and finished strong in second place. Redwood had their XL Career Fair on November 9th at lunch. Redwood had a great turnout as many students got to learn about different career paths and opportunities from people in that specific career. Redwood hosted their annual cowhide door decorating competition. Redwood had great participation among classes. Redwood gave the winning class door donuts in the morning. The categories included best all around, best representation of department, best pop culture reference, nightmare at the door, and shrewd to the hide. Our counseling, now moving on with Sequoia, our counseling department took our foster/transition students to visit UC Merced and another group to visit the College of the Sequoias for a campus tour. XL After School did their annual career fair for our students with an extended lunch, and the culinary classes provided the vendors with a delicious student cooked meal. ASB has started tracking participation at Sequoia, and prior to the start of a new activity, every student receives a Google Doc asking them to join in. This ensures all of our student body is reached and has been given a chance to join in the activities. We are seeing a more diverse group of students joining. ASB has had several events in the past month, including Halloween door contest, a Halloween dress-up day, a pumpkin contest, Asian food truck for this month, and pumpkin smashing contest. Mr. Reyes didn't win this contest. On to VCIS. VCIS ASB is putting on a food drive to fill our food pantry. VCIS provides an on-campus food pantry to serve VCIS students and families. ASB sponsored a Halloween dress-up day, and all students who participated were able to trick or treat at the front office for a goodie bag of treats. We had a record number of student and staff participation. Game Club is hosting after-school game days, and their next game day is on December 1st. All VCIS supervising teachers are guiding and monitoring students through the California college lessons. And lastly, with VTech, last week, VTech FFA had an eventful week, which started with Green Hand Week, where students dressed up, had engaging activities like barrel racing and a green hand breakfast. To finish, they placed in their cotton judging team that took place at Fresno State. VTech Spanish Club hosted their first ever Dia de los Muertos family night, where they were greeted with student-made altars that honored those who have fallen. VTech did an amazing job with their school culture rally, Finding Fierce. ASB students connected the FIERCE acronym, Family, Innovation, Engagement, Rigor, 6 C's, and Excellence with fun under-the-sea activities for students and staff. And this week, VTech will be taking students to different college tours. Today, freshmen visited the COS Tulare campus and sophomores visited Fresno State. And tomorrow, the juniors and seniors will visit UC Merced. Thank you.
Thank you, Maui. I have a question for you. What school was doing the Dude Be Nice week?
I believe it was LD
Okay,
Monte.
I love that because that's one of our initiatives for this year is being kind and being nice. So I love that. And I want to thank you, Maui. You've done a great job. I know this is your last night with us. You've been very professional, and thank you for your service.
Thank you for having me.
Board member reports. Let's start with Mr. Belt.
Okay, thank you. I'm continuing to fulfill my goal to visit every one of our 42 school sites. I have no idea where I'm at on the number, but appreciate our secretaries for helping to schedule all of that around our schedules. But I came across something that I had never seen at the charter homeschool. I think that was Thursday. Anyway, we have a food vending machine so that students can actually get breakfast during a certain time frame and lunch during a certain time frame by punching in their student ID code and pass code as well. So as I've been thinking about that over the weekend, I've never seen anything like that. I know we give lunches and breakfasts to every student who wishes to have one, but it might be a solution for some of our schools that are so impacted that they're having difficulty getting through the lunch line. If we had the same machine at Redwood and other places where they're impacted, that here's a machine you can walk up to, punch in your ID, and our food services are making those packaged breakfasts and lunches available in that machine. Thank you so much for doing that. It's just, that's an amazing, I've never seen anything like it. So again, it's a way to actually bring services to students as a timely. The special ed bus ride was especially fun because I got to see firsthand how our tracking system is working, both for the drivers to know what students are on the bus, keeping track of them, but also ultimately both our tracking in the office at our transportation services, and then ultimately for parents to be able to look at their app, know where their kiddo is or should be and will be, and how that bus will be arriving either at school or at home. It's working, and it's gonna be tremendous. I know we still, Mr. Kerr, working out some of those details of getting that fully implemented. Then the conversation with board members, I think, was a successful event. I look forward to doing more of them. I know we're going to be now discussing how we can improve on them, how we can get more attendance and more response, whether it's coffee with a board member or tacos with the board. I don't know where we're going to go. I probably shouldn't even suggest that, but we are looking at other ways to encourage that dialogue. The Bulldog Bound evening, I guess a highlight for a lot of students and for Dr. Villegas and myself was getting pictures with Victor E. I didn't know Victor E. I guess I don't follow the Bulldogs well enough, but this live Bulldog came and was a part of the evening. And so everyone had to get a picture with this dog that was very docile and very nice. But capped off yesterday morning with breakfast with Broncos, the first time that I know of that a middle school, Valley Oak, took on the task, the parents took on the task of trying to bring out more parents like we do in elementary schools where they have donuts with dads and muffins with moms and all kinds of things with grandparents. Do the same thing in middle school. There were a couple hundred parents that showed up. I know they had a lot of muffins left over and some milk they had to distribute around, but the Parent Teacher Student Association got exposure, and I know of at least one because I talked to him and then he talked to the president of the PTSA, Mrs. Rogers, Grandpa's going to sign up and be a part of that. So that again is another connection. Kudos to everyone at Valley Oak pulling that off. In light of Dr. Franco, he's still home with his twins, which he should be. So I just promoted him again, Dr. Franco. Sorry, Mr. Franco, principal at Valley Oak, who had twins last week as well. So lots of good things. Thanks again, principals, for all your work. I would never want to do the job, but I'm glad you're here tonight again to be aware that we appreciate you.
Thank you. Dr. Villegas.
Thank you, President Gamoyan. I want to thank everybody who took the time to participate in the conversation with the board member events. Really a lot of insightful conversations and questions that were asked that will certainly guide us as board members as we make, lots of decisions moving forward, from our strategic plan to our facilities and so much more. One thing I want to plug about the Bulldog Bound event, which was really truly inspiring. I think after yesterday night, I was reminded about, why I serve as a board member and really opening up opportunities for students, seeing students walk up to that banner and sign it and make a commitment to themselves, to their families, to their community was just amazing to witness. And Victory Bulldog looks nothing like the mascot you see up there. He's the sweetest, dog you could ever see. He had a line of people went in and take a photo with him. But one thing I want to mention about Bulldog Bound and why I would encourage any parent and student to sign up is not only do we get all the wonderful library resources and the student ID, but you also get the Fresno State student email, and with that, specialized scholarship opportunities for students. And it's a non-committal program, meaning that if a student decides that they want to attend community college or a different university, that is completely okay. They will still have their guaranteed admission to Fresno State, but it's not like they are, 100% committed to going there. So it's just a phenomenal program, and I look forward to seeing, even more growth there and even more growth in reaching our number of students that reach those A through G requirements, which are really important. Had the opportunity to visit Creekside with Councilmember Soto, as well as Assistant Superintendent DeMeo and Superintendent Shrum. And really, we got to see the community garden kind of in the first stages. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing what our students do with that. So major shout out to Principal Burgess and all the staff doing great work and amazing things at Creekside. Two last things I want to plug. One of them related to something we saw earlier today. I was on social media and I saw that through our ELOP program, we're going to start offering ukulele classes to 3rd and 4th graders, which is awesome. And that is amazing. And I'm definitely looking forward to checking out some of those performances. But in my head, I was thinking, as we watch that amazing Baile Folklorico program from Mount Whitney, I'm manifesting this, that within the next couple of years, we are not only going to have those folklorico dancers coming, but we will have a mariachi music program performing alongside them as well. I think that would be amazing to see. I know there are several different models of that throughout California. Our neighbors down to the south, I think in Bakersfield City School District, have a phenomenal program there. So I'm manifesting it. We can do it. I believe in us. And finally, I want to make one final plug to community members and family and staff to drop on by Sequoia High School this Thursday. I believe it's going to be from 5 to 7 p.m. We're going to have our 2nd annual Native American or American Indian Resource Fair. So lots of great opportunities for students and resources for folks to take advantage of. So please do attend if you are able to. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Case-Beer-Soleno.
Good evening. I'll be very quick. I won't bring up conversation with a board member because it seems like we've covered it, but it was a nice event. And I wanted to touch a little bit on Cowhide. It was a super fun event. I wanted to thank I know that Redwood was sort of the home team this year, and so they had a lot of their staff there, and it was really great to see those staff there. They were all kind of sitting behind the goal line. And I know the Mount Whitney staff were there too. It's just they were kind of separated this year, so we saw more of the Redwood staff. I wanted to thank their boosters for feeding us. I always appreciate going to those events, and they have kind of yummy food for us to eat. And I think that one of the things, my parents actually came this year and went to see the football game. So it was kind of cool for them coming from out of town. And one thing that they commented on was, even though it's this long standing rivalry, you know, and like the bridge is decorated and all of this stuff, there's really there's no element of nastiness to it. Like it's such an elevated rivalry, I guess, in a way. Like, and I think a lot of that comes from the staff. And I think even like we were noticing how the bands play together, both at the beginning and at halftime. And so I just think that's a really cool atmosphere. There are a lot of negative rivalries in high schools. And I think it's really great that we kind of have this very positive rivalry. And I have not been to Battle of the Saddle. I'm sure they have the same thing. That's why I'm commenting on Cowhide. I'm really looking forward to, we are going to be participating in Candy Cane Lane Parade together. That will be the first time for me, and a first time ever, ever. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think that's a really great community event, and it's nice to see that the USD will be in it. I mean, I think our bands and stuff like that have been in the past, but for us to be in it. Lastly, I just wanted to say to our staff, enjoy next week. I know you made it through October, you made it through November, you get the whole week off. So, you know, enjoy your time and with your families. And I hope you can recharge a little before coming back for the next couple weeks before winter break. Thanks.
Thank you. Dr. Otto.
Yeah, so my thunder's been stolen, so I'll be very, very brief. Attended the joint city VUSD meeting when that occurred. That's an important thing. You know, there are a lot of points of potential conflict between city and school district. And those don't erupt into huge, big, ugly things because folks know each other and work together regularly. And at the level that we're at, the elected officials level, there's also understanding and personal connection there that I think that helps to make that a better thing. And that's good for the community. Second thing, yes, also participated in the board member conversation pieces, did 3 of those because if one is good, 3 is better. And got to work with that with Dr. Villegas here twice, Mr. Belt once, and Mrs. Naylor once. Great potential for those. I'm interested in seeing where we choose to go as a group on that. But I think it's a great option for folks to connect with board members in a less traditional, less formal venue. And then Ms. Case-Beer-Soleno stole the biggest thunder here. I was going to comment on Cowhide and the rivalry football games. And you did what I was going to do, which is to state that in this district for a long, long, long time, we've had a culture of crosstown rivalries where it's rivalry and not enemies, where kids come together to explore the potentials of the night If you're at a school where you win for a long time, that's one thing. If you're at a school where you lose for a while, that's another thing. But you come as friends, you compete on the field, and then you leave as friends. And in a perfect world, those games go back and forth with who wins each individual year. Mr. Hahn, you and I were, enemigos there for years and years. And, you killed us the first year, and I told you that all glory was fleeting. And that was true because I won one year, and then, the next we lost it. And that's how it should be. You should experience the victory and the loss and still have it be okay, and talk to the folks that you came to compete with when it's all done. That's a Visalia unified thing. Small parallel to that, big parallel actually, winter formal and prom are also all high school events where kids come together and enjoy each other's company, understanding that yes, we may wear different colors and sing different songs, but we're all still Visalia kids and we can have friends of different types and it's okay. So thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Naylor.
I almost feel like I should say no report because you guys took everything. But yeah, I did enjoy the conversation. The board member is a great way to connect with our community. So I look forward to having that discussion. I also want to say, and Dr. Odo touched on it with our joint meeting, we had Golden West come in with one axe. And I just want to know, tell them how we didn't have time that night, how talented they were. It was a funny little act. And we all got a chuckle out of it, but they did an amazing job. I did attend what's called the Quarterback Club, and it was a nice event where they honored the player of the year for football in each of the schools, which I thought was interesting because it's every school, Woodlake, Redwood, you name it, and CVC. I wanted to congratulate our head coach of Mount Whitney, which was Nathan Chamberlain, for the Coach of the Year award. He did an amazing job. Also, just wanted to give a shout out to Raising Cane's. Kathy Ellum donated all the food for that night, and that was a lot of food to donate. So I appreciate our community coming in and supporting our schools and helping us out there. Also, Max's Cookies was there for our desserts. So shout out to Max's Cookies. So if you get the chance to go and taste that, those meals, it would be amazing. But anyway, I did have the opportunity to visit 2 elementary schools, Elbow Creek and Royal Oaks. Always a great time when I visit. I work full time, so I don't get out much. But on my Fridays off, every other Friday off, I do try to visit schools, and they're doing some amazing things. So it was just nice to be able to see kids engaged and teachers doing such an amazing job. And also one more thing, we attended first ever the Divisadero Fall Carnival. And I'm just going to give the staff and Mr. Mariqueen an amazing event. A lot of people, families there, lots of activities. It was just a nice night. And we talk about one connected and involving our community and our parents. That was a perfect event. And I just appreciate all there was a lot of work that went into that. It was very obvious. And just thank you so much.
Board Clerk Gaby.
Well, they all just did a fabulous job, so no report.
I also wanted to say thank you to the people who came out to our conversation with board members. But and I don't know where we're going from here, but there's always been other venues that people talk to me. So this year I volunteered at the Oak Grove Carnival and had several people come up and talk to me and ask me questions. It also happens at Save Mart and Costco. But I like more of these school events that people come up and ask me questions. Today, Dr. Odo and I were at VPI, which is our business partners with VUSD. And we talked a lot today about advisories and how our college and career department are going to kind of reevaluate how we do our advisories so that they have more input. And that's always good to see. And then we had, I think if I'm not mistaken, aren't you in Virtual Enterprise? Yeah. So Virtual Enterprise came, I think you have 3 businesses? Yes. 2 businesses, yes. So they came and spoke and shared what's going on with them. I think are you a CEO of one of the businesses? Oh, okay. Which business are you with? Okay, it was really cool. And then I was able to sneak in at the seal of the kids that were going to be involved in the civic engagement. And I was amazed how many kids were there, like 50, 60, 75 kids, yeah, that want to make a difference in our community. And we might be the most in the whole state. Yeah, we're gonna be. There you go. I also want to make a comment on the quarterback club. They picked an outstanding offensive player and an outstanding defensive player. And most of those gentlemen had 4.0s or above. So they were very academic as well. And again, congratulations to Nathan Chamberlain for being Coach of the Year. And I just want to say that thank you, Math 1 teachers. I am amazed at the improvement in our math scores. And I just want to thank you for that hard work. Thank you, Mr. DeMeo, for what's going on in special ed. I read these reports before I come and I cry because I feel like I'm living a dream, the dream of why I ran for school board. So I do all my crying at home before I come to the school board. So Superintendent Shrum.
All right, well, thank you. And I also want to echo that by saying thank you to all of our teachers as we get ready to go into the holiday for our Thanksgiving week. Just want to say how thankful we are for our students, our families, our teachers, our staff who make those things happen every day. And, you know, I was telling some people this morning, it was interesting, you know, different things strike you different ways. And so this morning was driving to work, and I always have the privilege of passing Willow Glen. And so the timing worked out this morning where students were arriving. And so I'm able to see the families take their kids to school or drop off. And, you know, I'm keeping my eyes on the road too, you know, so want to make sure that's clear. But, you know, it just struck me just what the incredible privilege and honor we have as educators, as members of the board and others. You know, every day, 30,000 students come into our doors and their families entrust us to make sure we're keeping their kids safe, that we're educating, that we're living out our mission of every student learning every day. And so I'm so thankful for that opportunity to serve as a superintendent. I'm thankful for all of our staff, and I certainly, and our families and our students, and I certainly hope that everyone has an amazing and safe Thanksgiving, well-deserved holiday break. Thank you.
Great. All right, we'll move on. 10.1, recommended expulsion. May I have an motion to approve the recommended expulsions?
Motion.
Second. First by Board Member Case-Beer-Soleno, second by Board Member Naylor. All in favor?
Student Board Representative abstains and motion passes unanimously.
10.2, recommended suspended expulsions. May I have a motion to approve recommended suspended expulsions?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
First by Board Member Villegas, second by Board Member Case-Beer-Soleno. All in favor?
Student Board Representative abstains and motion passes unanimously.
10.3, recommended review continued expulsions. May I have a motion to approve the recommended review continued expulsions?
Motion to approve.
I will second.
Motion by Board Member Naylor, second by Case-Beer-Soleno. All in favor?
Oh.
Student Board Representative abstains and motion passes unanimously.
11.1, Visalia Unified School District Strategic Plan, second read, Superintendent Shrum.
All right. Thank you, Board President Gamoyan, board members, and our families and community staff that are here tonight. Pleased to present our strategic plan for our second read and hopeful approval. Not going to go through the whole report again. We've talked about how our strategic plan is the map, you know, kind of like the vehicle to make our beliefs and commitment for student learning, our vision and mission become reality. And of course, we've talked about how we got the information, why we needed a strategic plan. The last time we talked about all of the public input that we received and how this has resulted in our themes and our focus areas, which were or are high expectations, high achievement, empowering students, and engaging the community. And then, of course, the focus areas that go with each of those. And then if you remember, that's what the board is being asked to approve, the theme and the focus areas. Next, after that comes the work within the district and the community, parents and others to make that, what are the initiatives and actions that are going to make those things happen? And so we last month gave some examples of what that could look like and how it's going to be mapped out over a 5-year plus period. Also budget, HR, operations impact as well. And so it will go from broad all the way down to specific actions that we will then track. And every quarter, currently, you're used to us coming to you, giving you a quarterly update. That will continue. But starting next year, those quarterly updates will be based on how we're doing with the things that we said we would do in year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and 5, and so on, right? So that just is the high level review. And so open for any questions. And without any of those, again, approval for our themes and focus areas for our first Visalia Unified Strategic Plan.
Is there any questions or comments from the board? Is there any public comment? Do I have a motion to accept our Visalia Unified District Strategic Plan?
I will gladly make that motion.
I'll second.
On a motion by Board Member Casebeer Solano, second by Board Member Naylor, all in favor?
Student Board Representative votes yes, and motion passes unanimously.
Woohoo. Yes. 11.2 Notice of Intent to Employ Certificated Management Personnel and Approval of Administrative Services Credential Waiver Request, Assistant Superintendent Ben Dillon.
Always. You're always trying to get me. Good evening. Thank you, Board President Gamoyen, Superintendent Shrum, members of the board. I am requesting that you approve our intent to move forward with a administrative services credential waiver for this specific staff member to move forward in enrolling in a program in time to complete their credential requirements for that preliminary credential.
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Was there any questions? Okay. So on a motion by Board Member Casebeer Solano, second by Dr. Otto.
Vegas.
Dr. Villegas, all in favor?
Student Board Representative votes yes, and motion passes unanimously, although we would have liked the taco costume, just saying.
Stay tuned. Friday brings all kinds of excitement.
Okay, and 11.3, but before, Mr. Hernandez, before I announce your thing, I want to say thank you to you too, because you're like the unseen part of the success of this district. And without you, Mr. DeMayo and everybody else, Mr. Thompson, they couldn't do their job. So thank you.
Thank you. We do appreciate that we are behind the scenes.
So 11.3 warrant list, September 30th, 2023 through October 27th, 2023.
Good evening. So this is our routine item to approve the warrants between September 30th and October 27th.
Do I have a motion to accept
I'll
the
move.
warrant list?
Oh, go ahead.
Dr. Odo hasn't
Okay.
either.
Okay.
A motion by Board Member Belt, second by Board Member Odo, all in favor?
Student Board Representative votes yes, and motion passes 6 with 0 nays and 1 abstention.
And on that note, meeting adjourned.